And boom, hey up troops, hey Littleton here again with another video. We're going to go through trap operators looking at all... Ow, that stings. Don't put your hands on a gumai. Looking at all of these traps that are in front of me. Every single trap operator is going to get graded A, B to C. Some may be A star, which is what we would call an A plus in the UK. Some may be B minus, B plus, whatever it's going to be. They're all going to be graded, and I'm going to go through 4 different categories. Those 4 factors, those 4 categories are the traps a hindrance? Are they easy to hide? How easy are they to counter? And what's the overall loadout of the operator? Because yeah, you've got some operators whose utility trap is really good, but then their actual kit, the main weapon, the secondary weapon, the secondary gadget lets them down a little bit. So are they a hindrance? Are they easy to hide? How easy are they to counter? And what's the overall loadout of the operator? We're going to give them a grade. We're going to find out who's the best. Stick around. Let me know if your trap. I've said all that and I've said trap operator. Let me know if your trap operator is in this list. Well, it will be because I'm doing all trap operators. And which is your favorite? Get it in the comments below. That's enough waffling. Let's get stuck into it. So the first trap op we're going to look at is none other than Mr. Fenrir. So we're going to start with hindrance, then go on easiness to hide, then countering, and then overall loadout of the operator. So in terms of a hindrance, I think we've got to say Fenrir is right up there. If this isn't a hindrance, what is? Gets to the point where you can barely see anything outside of a few meters. If I just move back with Fenrir here, instead of being so close, we wouldn't see him at all. You get, let's ping that. It's about a 5-meter radius in terms of what you can see. It's not a lot. If somebody comes back into the area, you can see him a little bit, but outside of there, completely invisible beyond 5 meters. Let's just nip back in and listen to the sound in there. So if somebody's running around outside, you can still hear footsteps outside, as you can hear there, but it is, I mean, I think for me in terms of traps, this is about as much of a hindrance as it gets. Next option is easiness to hide. How hard is it to hide these traps so people can't see them? I think with Fenrir as well, it goes right up there. Reason being is you would walk in, you would go, where's that trap? And it's up on the roof behind you. It's really difficult to find them. There's some incredible, let me just come out the area of it. There's some incredibly hard spots to find them. I think Fenrir gets extra points as well because the fact that he can look at it. Let me just go on the other PC. Oh, press the wrong button on the other PC. Turn it on, turn it off. I think that also goes a long way for the easiness to hide because you might come through this door when it was turned off and then later on you come back through it and it's turned on. Obviously you wouldn't do that on this door in Oregon. You're not going to go back out of here once you're in, but other areas of different maps you might do. So yeah, easiness to hide. I think Fenrir is pretty much up there as well. Like being able to throw it on the roof behind you. Let's just compare this to, say, Melusi. Melusi would never be able to get a banshee up there. It would have to go either side or on the ground maybe. So yeah, gets extra points there as well. In terms of countering, countering is quite easy when it comes to Fenrir these days. It never used to be, but let me just move out of the way, sorry. One shot on the trap, of course, will destroy it. If I just throw another one on the wall over there. One shot on the trap will destroy it, even if it's active or not. Let's throw another one, and we'll activate one. Whether the trap is active or not, it used to be you couldn't destroy these non-active ones without explosives, but now, active or not active, it'll still be destroyed with one shot. Of course, the ability to destroy and the countering of it here also sort of plays into the how easy it is to hide factor, because the fact is you come through this door, and as I said to begin with, you go in, where's the trap? You're looking down here, you're looking down here, you're looking down here. You know, you're worried you're going to get shot from E-box on the head holes that are normally here. You're going to be in absolute shambles while you're trying to find where that trap is. But back to countering, yes, it can be hacked by Brava. So yeah, it can be pretty useful to hack, as opposed to, say, for example, Lesion, who we'll come on to later, who you can't hack. So yeah, interesting gadget that's a nightmare to counter at times, but it is easy to destroy if you find it. Overall loadout of this guy, we've got an MP7, and we've got a bailiff, and he's also got the bulletproof cam as well. I don't know how can he see? He can't even see. This game's unplayable. He can't see out of his own, like, suit. This game's unplayable. I want a refund. So, yeah, in terms of Fenrir, for grading, for me, Fenrir gets an A. I think he used to be an A star, but I think Fenrir now gets an A. Being able to do a bit of site setup, you've got the intel with the bulletproofs. The thing that Fenrir really does better than a lot of other operators is the ability, if I jump back on this keyboard, is the ability to turn them on and off. That is unbelievable. So, for example, you could set FNATs up here, laundry, and freezer. and you could just turn them on and off for wherever the push is coming from. So an attacker leaves blue and says, oh, I'm going to come down big stairs, down big tower stairs instead. You've got your Fenrir there. You just turn that one off and turn this one on. Like, it's so strong. For me, it's an A. It would have been an A-star back in the days when you couldn't destroy the closed traps because that was a shambles. He also used to be able to activate 3. You can now only activate 2. So yeah, he has dropped slightly, but I still think he's right up there in terms of trap operators. And I think that's evident in the fact that he gets banned quite a lot in high ranks. Fenrir, thanks for your time. GN. Next on the list then, we've got Thorn, and we're going in like reverse release order here. So Fenrir first, then Thorn, and then back through the operators that are trap operators that have been released. What does Thorn have? This thing right here. I can't walk in like we did with Fenrir because it'll just explode on us. This is the Razor Bloom trap. Now, the way the Razor Bloom trap works is imagine a sort of a Kapkan trap that you can throw on walls that has a timed detonator when you go within a certain proximity. Am I going to be able to look at? There we go. I can just about see it. So this works by walking through the door. You trigger the detonator, and within around 3 seconds, 1 Mississippi, 2. Now within 2.5 seconds, it's a bit less than that. We'll count it in a second. Let's count it right now. 1, 2, 3. That's long. That's about 2 seconds. My seconds were too fast there. It'll detonate, and it fires a large blast radius of sharp things that really sting if you get hit by them. If you're in the radius where it's red, you'll definitely die. If you're outside of the radius, you'll take a little bit of damage. Now, in terms of... Let me just open my list of trap things. In terms of hindrance, it is a hindrance, but because the detonator doesn't go off straight away, it isn't a massive hindrance to begin with. So the reason this is good in some circumstances is because you get a big sound command, and you know where someone is based on which Thorn trap's going to go off, obviously. You can use that more than most things. Where Thorn also comes into her own is with barbed wire. So if you've got barbed wire down and you're trying to get through it, you know, you're trying to get through here and the trap's going off, it's not a nice place to be. You can see the radius there. It's around 5 meters as well. So yeah, it's not a great place to be when you're walking through barbed wire and there's also a Razor Bloom ready to go off. However, Razor Blooms, I'm just going to do one more quickly. Razor Blooms aren't as much as a hindrance because you can usually find them based on the sound and shoot them. I can hear that that's on my right. You turn around and you shoot it. Now, something I don't do, which I really should, is shoot them more often. I tend to walk in through a door, I'll hear a Razor Bloom go off, and I just try and run away, either that way or back the way I came. And I've died, it's embarrassing to say, I've died quite a few times to Razor Blooms because I don't turn around and shoot them. I try and run away, but that'll either get me in more trouble by somebody being on this door, for example, who'll just turn around and shoot me as I'm running away, or I'll get in too far, Razor Bloom activates, and then I try and run away, and I don't get out the door in time. It is so much easier if I mean, console might be a bit trickier because I know getting precise aiming on controller is a bit harder than PC, but as soon as you hear that Razor Bloom, turn around to the door, find out where it is, and shoot it before it goes off. If you can get out of the door, then maybe you could get out quick enough. But yeah, it's caught me out a few times by not shooting it and trying to run away, which is a mistake in my opinion. Easiness to hide, I haven't got any more left on Thorn, but in terms of easiness to hide, it's a bit like the Fenrir trap. I think it's probably even stronger in terms of easiness to hide. If we were to go to some soft floor, it's mad, we haven't got any soft floor around here. I'll have to go up to Big Tower. One thing you can do with Thorn, which is, this is embarrassing, I'll have to run this far to find a bit of soft floor, which is good, is you can come to a bit of soft floor. Let's just pretend this this window here is a doorway. You can shoot out the first skin of the floor, so to speak, and then you could pop the Razor Bloom within the door, within the floor itself, and it's really easy to hide down there and hard to see for attackers. Don't forget you can drop ladders, and before you hit the floor, just catch on. Oh no, wait, I didn't do that right. Has that changed? Can you not do that now in CJX? Wait. Yeah, you can't do that in CJX anymore. That's changed. You used to be able to run, like, drop a ladder and then catch on the ladder and snatch onto it before the bottom. I didn't know that had changed. We just found that out in this video too. Okay, coming back down. Back to Thorn. So easiness to hide, yeah, pretty solid. I think it's easier to hide that than the Fenrir FNAT. Next category is countering. How easy is it to counter a Thorn? I would say easier than an FNAT. You know, you come in, you hear it go off, you can turn around and shoot it. But as I've just said, sometimes you don't find it in time. So it is easy to counter in theory, but obviously you've got to find it, and that ties into how easy is it to hide, which is pretty easy to hide. So sometimes it can be tough to counter. Do you know what I mean? If someone doesn't hide it very well, it's dead easy to counter. If you hide it well, it's harder to counter. But you've got to find it. With them being small traps, they can generally be like sort of tucked in places that you wouldn't normally be expecting them to be. But the key thing is with the razor bloom, you want to make sure it always has line of sight as to where you want it to go off. Because if it's blocked by something, like for example, if you were to put a razor bloom in the bootcase here, and I was to stand here when it went off, I wouldn't be in the line of sight of the sort of razors or whatever it is that's inside it when it explodes. So you always got to make sure it's got line of sight to the enemy. Overall loadout, Thorn's Uzi is actually unbelievably powerful for a defender gun. Like the destruction on it is so good. Like if you just fire a couple of bullets at a wall, there's not many defender guns that would be able to make a hole in a wall there in 13 shots. The R4C will probably struggle. The R4C just manages it in 11 shots, and attacker ARs are always more powerful than the defender SMGs. That has got an extended barrel on. So I just zoomed in right on... Sorry, that's just zoomed in right on you there, whilst I was looking at the extended barrel. There's a joke in there, and we were looking at that picture, and someone's got an extended barrel. Grow up, every one of you. Right, so... Yeah, the loadout isn't bad. Minus points for not having an ability to make rotates and to make head holes. However, you could make head holes with the SMG. You just run out of ammo fairly quickly. You do get a shield, and you do get barbed wire. So the barbed wire, as we've seen here, plays into the razor balloon pretty well. But you could also be able to play somewhere like Elbow. This is a great example whilst I'm here, actually. You could put traps on that wall over there, put traps on this wall here, play behind the shield, and play from here. The only thing is you'd have to have someone make the rotate for you. I've located a bomb by punch it. No way. That punch hole just meant I've located the bomb. That's insane. So yeah, solid loadout. Slightly less points for not being able to make rotates and side setup, but the gun does slap. Overall, Thorn gets a C from me. Cheers, Thorn. Next on the list, we've got Melusi, who, spoiler alert, is my favourite trap operator. Oh, and maybe Lesion as well, I'm not sure. But Melusi is right up there. She's the complete package. Melusi has these things. The Melusi Banshees. Now, what happens is you walk into the range of these, you start feeling all distorted, you're super slowed. I'm trying to sprint, you can't sprint. You walk at about crouch pace, slightly slower at all times. Your audio is muffled from what you can hear. You do still hear other things. You can still hear Melusi running around outside of that. But it's just not a nice experience being in one of these. You can't really peek what you want to peek that well. Obviously, your ADS speed isn't slowed, but you can't really move. It's a real hindrance being in one of these, which is interesting because the category is called hinderence. So the range of this is, I think again, it's about 5 meters, 4 meters. I think it might be. It's 4 meters. So as soon as we get into 4 meters, I thought it was 5 meters. It's 4 meter range. So a double doorway from where we are now, that's 3 meters. So you could put it on the side of a double doorway. We could get a little bit closer here, to be fair. And the 4 meter range is always going to get it. How much of a hindrance is the Banshee? Yeah, it's a bloody big hindrance. It lets out a load of noise that you're there. It stops you from moving where you need to. The only thing is, I think why the FNAT's better than the Banshee in terms of hindrance is it doesn't stop you from seeing anything. If you're walking in and you've only got one angle to worry about, you can walk through here and you can be pretty sure, you know, you're slowed, but you're going to be able to ADS. The way you should be playing a Banshee on it, from a defender's point of view, is you know the area where that Banshee is. As soon as someone walks through that double door, it's even easier with a single door, obviously, because the area is less. As soon as you hear that Banshee go, that's when you peek. What you don't do is stand here holding this angle when you've got a Banshee there. This is silly. Don't do this. Someone who I play with who comes in the stream who's a great fella, actually, a chap named Hero Spencer. I was playing with him last night and he did this, and I'm sure he won't mind me telling people. But he was on Chalet holding blue to trench door, and we had a Banshee on the door and he was holding an angle like this. What happened is the attacker came in through the door, pre-fired where he was standing, and he was dead. If Spencer was stood here like this on an off angle and waited for that Banshee to be active, when as soon as it becomes active, you know that they can only be in this area here. That's the only area they can be in. You can peek straight away and pre-fire, or even just peek and have an idea of where they're going to be. There's no point holding an angle when you've got a Banshee on the door. Same goes for many traps, actually. You don't need to be holding an angle like this. You can hold passively, stay ADS'd. As soon as you hear that active, that's when you then turn and swing or peek the corner. So hindrance, yeah, bloody big hindrance. In terms of easiness to hide, this for me is one of the lowest scores on the traps for easiness to hide. You can only get the banshees, if I just get hold of Melusi here. You can only get the banshees where you can reach. You can get slightly higher, you can get slightly lower, and you can go on the floor as well. You can also mount them onto things if you can. You can't vault on anything in here, can you? But if you can vault on a table, you can mount them on there as well. So, but they're not particularly good for hiding. You know, they're quite bright, they're quite easy to see. And you know when a banshee goes off, when you walk through the door, you know that it's not going to be above you, don't you, straight away. You know, an FNAT goes off, you don't know where it is. The banshee goes off, you're just going to turn, you know it's not going to be there, obviously. You're going to turn around and see it there. Now, what I would always say when it comes to easiness to hide, and this sort of goes into the placement for Melusi, is you always want to be putting the banshee on the opposite side of the door that you're going to be. So let's just use this door as an example. Melusi's playing elbow. You always want the banshee to be on the right-hand side here, so the enemy's got their back to you whilst they're trying to destroy the banshee. What you don't want is the banshee here. And then, whilst the enemy's trying to destroy the banshee, you're only that far away from the banshee. If the banshee's behind... I've said banshee so much here. If the banshee's behind you, they've then got to shoot the banshee and then turn all the way around 180 degrees to see where you are. You always want to make them look as far away from you as possible to find the banshee. But in terms of easiness to hide, yeah, one of the lowest. You can't throw it anywhere. You can only place it where you can reach. In terms of countering, it gets a lot of points for me here because two reasons. One, it's bulletproof when it's not active. Let me just run back outside. And two, when it does activate, you've got to wait for it to be open. You shoot these sort of internal, sort of black central bit of the middle of it there. When you're not in range of it, it'll close back up and that shell will go back over the top. But the annoying thing about banshees is, even if you know where it is, you've got to wait for it to open. You've got to wait for that shell to open before you can shoot it. And that's where teamwork comes in quite well. On certain doors, you can have an enemy, a teammate that can see the banshee and you can't. And you say to your teammate, I'm going to walk in. Can you shoot that banshee as soon as it walks in? And as soon as I come in, I can then swing this corner and somebody else will take care of the banshee. But countering it, it is easy, but it's got to be active. You've got to find it, and it's you've got to wait for the flaps to open. I've got to stop saying you've got to wait for the flaps to open. That's not okay. So I think it gets quite a few points on the old how easy is it to counter territory, because there's nothing you can do about it other than explosives. Obviously, an ash charge or a frag grenade would get rid of that there, even if it was closed. But you've got to wait for it to be open in most circumstances to counter it, and therefore countering it is tricky. You're always going to give well, most of the time you're going to give the 99 times out of 10. Well, you're always going to give the defenders an idea of where you are, because you've got to make the noise for it to open, to destroy it, and then you give that sound cue over to the defenders. Overall loadout, Melusi shines in overall loadout. The MP5 is a cracking gun. Secondary shotgun for making rotates. Also, impact grenades. I didn't mean to throw that. Impact grenades or a bulletproof camera. So impacts, obviously, if the other team are playing shields, I would take impacts, or the bulletproof camera if you've got no Valk or no intel. But overall, one of the best kits, in my opinion, for a trap operator. Maybe bested only by Lesion, because the gun and the shotgun from Lesion is quality. Interestingly, Melusi actually had Legion's SMG on release, and Oryx had the MP5, and they swapped it over. So yeah, an interesting loadout. One of the better ones in the trap operators. This may be controversial, but Melusi for me gets an A. Cheers, Melusi. Next on the list, then, we've got Ella, who gets access to these things. Grismot... Oh, I've missed the ping. That's embarrassing. Grismot mines. Now, they are a sort of sticky, putty-type device that you throw onto any wall, any surface, actually. You don't have to be a wall. You can throw it on the ceiling if you want to. They detonate immediately on impact and have pretty hindering qualities. Let's have a look at what it feels like when you go through one. You can't really see a lot immediately. It's like a little mini flashbang. The effects last for about 5 or 6 seconds, and then we're back to normal. You sort of get a real audio distortion as well at the same time. She's just such a cool looking character, isn't she? I really like Ella. Character, I should say, operator. So yeah, that's what they look like. You can throw these, let me just jump onto Ella here. You can throw these onto any surface, whether it's on a floor, on a wall, whatever it might be. You get 3 of them. And yeah, the benefits there are they go off immediately on impact, unlike the Thorn Razor Bloom shell, which detonates and has a timer before it goes off. Obviously, these don't cause any damage. They're just really sort of audio and visual hindrances. So in terms of a hindrance, Ella is up there for me, but not anywhere near up there in terms of an FNAT. More of a hindrance, I would say, than a Melusi Banshee, because it really disorientates you, but not as much of a hindrance as a Fenrir FNAT. In terms of easiness to hide, it's right up there. Much like Thorn, you can throw these like right up on the ceiling. You can barely, even though we know that's there now and we can see it's lit up. That is so, if you were to just walk in here now, you wouldn't even realize that was there. She can pick them up when she's put them down if she wants to. I don't know if she's going to be able to reach that. Oh, can reach that, yeah. So in terms of easiness to hide, gets a lot of scores there. In terms of countering, this is where she does really well again. Let me just go out this door and then come back in. In terms of countering, we'll throw another on the door there. She gets a lot of points in terms of countering. You can hack ally mines with Brava, but the problem is it's too late by the time you've walked in to try and counter it. The only thing you could do is take a Twitch drone in or a Brava drone in and try and destroy it before you walk through the door. It's almost impossible. You just saw it there. It's almost impossible to destroy this as you walk through the door. And if Ella's any good at a job and any good at people who play Ella are any good, you're not going to see it when you walk through the door. It's not like it's going to be super obvious that it's going to be on the floor there. It's going to be tucked onto the wall behind the door, or onto the ceiling behind the door, or onto the wall behind the door. You're never really going to see it. In terms of countering, other than Twitch or Brava, almost impossible. Overall loadout. The Scorpion is an interesting gun, isn't it? Because nice charm, Ella. The Scorpion is an interesting gun because the fire rate is insane, but so is the recoil. And you actually get quite a large mag with it. You get, is it 41 bullets are in the mag when you reload. That is huge. That's like 11 more than the most defensive SMGs. You also get a really cool pistol as a secondary with the sight on built into the gun there. The Spawn Peaker's Dream. You also get that shotgun that used to be an absolute menace but isn't anymore. So don't bring the shotgun. Never really noticed that she's got zip ties on her leg there. I've never noticed that before. So yeah, the pistol's pretty good. In terms of gadgets, secondary gadgets, she gets a shield, she gets barbed wire, or she gets a impact grenades. So one of the beauties of Ella at the moment is you can roam pretty well with impacts, but where she really comes into her own is countering shields. What we can't really demonstrate here with Ash is when you walk through an Ella mine with a shield, it moves your shield to the side. So you're completely exposed and you can be shot. A really, really good way of countering shields at the moment. If you can team that up with impacts as well in her kit and get on the roam, she's really, really solid. In terms of overall loadout then, and in terms of an overall grade, Ella for me gets a C+/B-. Slightly better than Thorn, but not quite as good as Melusi and Fenrir and the guys we've spoken about already. Cheers, Ella. Next on the list, then, we've got this guy, Lesion. I don't think I'd be wrong if I said he's almost everyone's favorite trap operator. Spoiler alert, probably mine too. Now, he gets access to these things. These are a goo mine. They are a sort of toxin through some little needles that are in a canister. He gets 8 of these throughout the round. Say that again. 8 toxic canisters. 8 goo mines. I don't want to say toxic canisters like I'm talking about smoke. He gets 8 goo mines throughout the course of the round. They are unlocked over time. They become unlocked roughly sort of every 20-25 seconds or so. And you can throw them wherever you can get them to. You literally throw them. If I take control of Lesion on the PC here, you'll see that you just literally throw them on the ground. That's where they go. Let me just move that so I don't stand on it. Throw them wherever you can get them. On surfaces, on ledges, wherever it might be. The key thing is the range that a goo mine has. It's just less than half a meter. It's about that. Now, where are they a hindrance? Yes, they're a massive hindrance. They stop you from planting. They make you move really slowly. You start taking damage. You get an effect on your screen. They're a massive hindrance. But they're even more of a hindrance because you can barely see them if you put them in good places. A double door is actually not the best place for them. We'll come on to that in a minute. You see that little bad boy around the corner there. So hindrance, yeah, a huge hindrance. Look, I'll show you. We're down to 97 HP. We'll walk through this and take 3 damage straight away. Down to 94. And then we start going 94 down to 82. 82 down to 70. So, and then you've got to stand still to take that needle out like you just saw. So, you take 3 damage initially, and then 12 damage thereafter every second. Like, that is insanely good. Insanely strong. And you've got to be stationary to take the goo mine out. So, the way you'd play Lesion is you'd wait here, wait until you hear them they hit the goo mine. You've got to start pulling the goo mine out, and that's when you'd swing around the corner and do something about it. In terms of a hindrance, yeah, massive hindrance. Like I say, stop you from planting as well. So yeah, really, really solid trap, and you can hide them pretty well too. So coming on to that exact thing, easiness to hide is the next category. Very, very easy to hide. We know this is here. It's staring at us. It's glaringly obvious. However, when you walk through this door, you know, you worry about what's going on over there. We haven't seen that yet, and we won't see that. You know, you're walking, even from here, you're not going to notice that there. I know we can see it now, but in a real-life in-game scenario, you wouldn't notice that. As you come through, you check elbow, you come around to the pillar door, and look, you don't even know it's there. You walk through the door, you start taking damage. They're great on hatch drops, because you never actually look directly underneath the hatch, or very rarely. And they're unbelievable on double doors and windows that you have to vault through. I think big window upstairs in Oregon, unbelievable there. But yeah, as soon as you walk through a single door, you're never not going to not hit that. You start taking the 3 damage, then another 12 damage. Like, they're so good. So easy to hide. I think they're up there. They used to be invisible. The goo mines, let me throw another one on the floor. Goo mines used to have a cloaking device in them. So that would be invisible. But they're no longer invisible. You can see them now, obviously. But yeah, they were insanely good back in the day when they were invisible. In terms of countering, so again, this sort of comes into easiness to hide. To counter a goo mine, all you've got to do is shoot it. You can punch it, but don't get too close, because you obviously, if you step on it, it'll still go off. But in terms of countering, you can punch it. You want to be silent, you of course can shoot it. But you can even go ridiculous and use an ash charge or a frag grenade on it. So they are super easy to destroy, super easy to counter. Quick note, Brava can no longer counter goo mines. She used to be able to, but since the changes to the goo mines, well, good for you, probably about a year ago now, she's not able to what's the word I'm after? I want to say take over, but that's not what hack. She's not able to hack the goo mines like she can other traps that we've seen so far. Overall loadout for Lesion is incredible. We've got the T5 SMG, which is one of the best SMGs on defense. Literally no recoil. It's got a super shorty for sight setup. Really solid of secondary to have. And of course the bulletproof cam, or he's also got observation blockers as well. But I honestly think he's got the best kit out of all defenders at the moment. The bulletproof cam for info, you can help out on site or just off site, and then you can disappear and roam and do what you need to do. Make your own rotates, open your own hatches. Insanely good loadout in my opinion. I think the grade that Lesion gets for me is an A star. Thanks, Lesion. How can he even see out of that? We've got the Fenrir problem again. Game's unplayable. Thanks, Lesion. Next on the list, we've got Frost, and she gets these things. Welcome traps, frost mats, welcome traps, bear traps, whatever you want to call them. Either way, it leaves your ankle in a nasty way. Hinderance, they aren't that much of a hindrance, actually. It takes 3 shots, I think, to destroy one. 2 shots with the R4C. They are damage dependent. They do have a health pool, so you can actually destroy one with a Twitch drone. Wonder if that's if you do the same with a pistol. Oh, it's 2 shots with a pistol as well. They definitely do have a damage pool, because I remember doing a Twitch video once and I tested it, and I did it took, I think it was 20 shots of the Twitch drone, and the Twitch drone does 5 damage apiece, so there is a damage pool for them. Are they a hindrance? I don't think they are. You've seen how easy they are to destroy. Yes, it does catch you out when you're going through the odd window. If you know there's a frost on the board, I think almost every Siege player is sort of in that habit now of vaulting through and looking at the floor anyway. So I don't actually think frost mats are that much of a hindrance. They do catch you out every now and then, and they do make you sort of say words that you wouldn't normally say when you go into one. But I don't think they're that much of a hindrance. You've seen how easy they are to destroy. How easy are they to hide? Surprisingly well, in my opinion. Especially in places you wouldn't normally expect. One thing I saw Tom Sherlock do once, Tom J. Sherlock, shout out, is he put one at the bottom of the stairs. Not here, but on canal. And as you're coming down the stairs, ADSing, you just don't think to look here. It was hidden really well at the bottom of yellow stairs. This is the main place you would see a frost mat. On something that you have to vault through or over. So the underneath a window is a classic, or on a rotate like this is another good one. Top of the stairs works well as well, because when you get to the top of the stairs here, you're not looking here. You're already considering the fire that you've got to take up here, and you just walk into the mat. Now, how easy are they to counter? You've seen that. We've already countered them. But I wanted to just show what would happen when you go in one. So you used to just be down forever until you got revived. These days, you go into a frost mat, and you're just in here sort of forever, really, until you either get shot or as if you self-revive. Press and hold self-revive, you take the trap off your foot, you reduce to 20 HP, and you leave a blood trail around the map, as you can see. You can't sprint, and you're reduced to this walking. It does affect your crosshair when you're walking like this. It doesn't affect your crosshair when you're ADS'd. But if you were playing, if you're a defender and you're wondering where the person who's in the frost mat gone, it's a bit Dead by Daylight, but just follow the blood stains and you'll find where they are. Now this effect lasts around a minute. You can see in the bottom left here, there's a sort of frost symbol, frost mat symbol with a timer that's going down. It's around a minute that this lasts. And yeah, the blood will last this long. I mean, it is a real hindrance if you're caught in a mat. You can still somehow like frag out and sort of clutch up if you need to, but reduced to 20 HP, I would say they are a decent hindrance. Easiness to hide we've talked about. Countering we've talked about. The only thing left to talk about with Frost is the overall loadout, and this is where Frost excels in my opinion. Frost has her main, which is basically an assault rifle, even though it's down as an SMG. It's really solid, a really, really good gun on defense. The fire rate is slightly lower than you'd want, but it's still pretty good. Then she's got the ITA 6, is it? ITA 12, ITA 6. She's got the ITA secondary shotgun, making rotate, size setup and all that good stuff. And she also is one of the few defenders still to have a bulletproof shield. Frost has genuinely got one of the best defensive loadouts in terms of weaponry and secondary gadgets. Overall, for me, Frost, because of her loadout, it really bumps her up there. But Frost, for me, gets a C+/a B-. Cheers, Frosty. And finally, on this list, we have this. I said what I wanted to say about this operator. I might get banned from YouTube. Not a fan at all, although he does my bloody head in, but I do know that he's a decent operator. This is Kapkan. Now, Kapkan has access to these things, the EDDs, erectile dysfunction devices. That's not true. I think it's entry denial device, but they're annoying. One thing people don't know about these, listen. Not sure if you can hear that because of the wind outside. They have a sound. So not only can you see them sometimes, they also give out a sound as well. They do a lot of damage. If you walk through one of these, you're going to know about it, but each operator, depending on the speed and armor that you are, has a different damage output. Are they a hindrance? Yes, they're a massive hindrance. I can't lie. I hate when people say that. I can't lie. I just assumed you wouldn't lie to me. Yeah, they're a massive hindrance. I walk through them all the time. I die to Kapkan traps at least once a day. And he does my head in because it's the best reward you can get in terms of elimination on the other team for the least amount of skill. Put one of these or two of these on a door and you might get a kill. It's so frustrating. But yeah, they're a massive hindrance. They do a ton of damage, and you can hide them really well, which we'll come on to in a minute. But in terms of damage, Ash takes 60 HP. Now, obviously, when I say the different damage values for different speed and armors, I mean that because they've got different health pools. So you go through two Kapkan traps as an Ash and you're dead. You go through two Kapkan traps as a 125, 3 armor, sorry, and you're okay just about. You go through it as a 2 armor and you get downed. Talking about easy to hide, are they easy to hide? Are there any Kapkan traps on that door? We'll look to the left, we'll look to the right. Yes, there's one on both sides. They are easy to hide, especially on doors like this where I can't really explain what I'm trying to say here, but the door frame is really thick. So the Kapkan traps are actually set back a little bit here. This is a really strong place for Kapkan. You come back to like here, you'll see the difference. Like, tell me when you see the traps. Just there. Right, you see, you can lean that way and see them, lean that way and see them. If you put Kapkan traps on this side of the door, it's super hard to see. So when you're placing the traps down, you need to think about which way is the attacker likely to approach the door from. And on this door, obviously the attackers are never going to approach from this side of the door. The attackers are always going to approach from here, whether they come from elbow, whether they come from here. They're always going to approach from this side of the door. So the Kapkan traps on that side are not a good idea because you're always going to see them. Whereas you're never going to look around this side of the door before you go through the door. So always make sure you put them on the side of the door the attackers are coming from. So not so they can see them as they walk up to it. In terms of countering, well, I mean, this is a sort of double-edged sword. Really easy to counter. One shot. Dead easy to counter. The problem is you've got to see them to counter, so this also ties in with the easy to hide. If the traps are on this door, no one really plays Kapkan down here, but if the traps are on that side of the door, as you're pushing through the head holes here and you're pushing pillar, you are never, ever going to look down there for a Kapkan trap. It works all the time. Every egg a bird, free cheese, 99 times out of 10. Whoa! Get that in there. Get that reference in. So yeah, easy to counter, but it's hard to counter when you can't see it. So that also ties into easy to hide. Overall loadout for young Kapkan here. Used to be a lot better than it is now. The 9x10... Excuse me, I've got a hair on my tongue. That's embarrassing. The 9x19 is a cracking pistol on defense. Cracking SMG on defense. It's the same gun as Army has. He also has access to the 2 Russian pistols. I know one's the PPM or PMM. PPM, and that's the one you want to be using. The damage output of this thing is insane. It only has 9 shots in, but the damage output of it is so good. It also then has barbed wire or a bulletproof camera. Now, it used to be that Kapkan had a C4 and impacts, which was just too much. So having the bulletproof camera is still really solid. Still really useful. But the overall loadout is okay. I am a stickler for wanting a defender that can make rotates and lines of sight, because a lot of people don't bother with it. So I end up making them. So I think if I don't have the opportunity to make them, other people aren't. So I like having the opportunity to do that. But I don't think you'll ever go wrong picking Kapkan. In terms of a grade for me, because he's so sneaky and they're easy to hide and they can literally kill you, he gets a B. Cheers, Kapkan. So there we have it. Every trap operator graded. Now, you could give me the argument that there are a few other trap operators. You could say a Rooney is a trap operator. You could say the Alibi is a trap operator, but I don't believe they are. Maybe a Rooney is a... I don't think they are. I think they're just on the skirts of it. But for me, I think Lesion takes it with Melusi as a very close second. Looking at the whole kit, the fact they've got shotguns to do side setup, plus good weapons with other secondary utility on the back of it, I think they're really solid. In terms of just the best trap, I think that probably has to go to Fenrir, but I don't think Fenrir's overall kit is quite up there. Being able to only have 2 active as opposed to Melusi that has 4 active. Lesion being able to just throw them constantly throughout the round. Don't get me wrong, Fenrir's got a good kit as well. MP7 and Bailiff is a really good kit, but yeah, for me, just Lesion and Melusi edge it slightly. Thanks as always for getting involved with the video. I really appreciate it, and just getting involved with the channel in general. The fact that I get to make videos about the game that I love and people watch them on the internet will still never really sink in with me, so thank you very much for getting involved. If you want to support the channel, there's other ways to do it in the description below. You don't have to do that by any means. One thing you can do, which costs nothing, and you can do it in the next 3 seconds, is press that little thumbs up video that will be in somewhere in this little thumbs up button in this area down here. If you don't know what to reply, or you don't know what to comment, I got some... Andon made me a 3D print of the charm. So just say charm if you don't know what to comment. That'd really help out. Doing the thumbs up, commenting, subscribing, all those good things that helps the channel. I very much appreciate it. And I'll see you on the next one. All the very best.